And now we're going to talk about what happened in wrestling.
Kevin, now we're going to hang up on you. I don't know how to turn your phone off.
You want your intro then? Since I'm here to give you
Oh, yes.
the show?
Yes, absolutely. Mr. Kevin is going to give us our intro here. Hope everybody can hear it. And we're
Hold on, you'll hear the bell, and then you can start.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Powerbomb Weekly, the only professional wrestling podcast hosted by a consummate professional and lover of the sport, Michael Burdett, and his co-host, Joey Marcello. Michael will share his love for the squared circle and the stories that make professional wrestling the phenomenon that it is. Joey will share his beard and, is that it, Joey? I thought so. Here are your hosts, the leader of the beautiful people, Michael Burdett, and some guy named Joey Marcello. Michael, take it away.
Thank you very much for that lovely intro, Kevin. I greatly appreciate it. And you are such an honest human being. You might have become my favorite person on the planet.
You suck!
Have a good night, bud.
Later, man.
Guys.
That's never going to see the light of day.
Oh, that was amazing. Oh, that was so good.
I'll get him to do that actually in the studio, so they're nice, clear.
That was very good. Have a good night, Mr. Ron. Thank you for being here, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Please be safe on your drive home.
Yep.
Hey, we had a whole bunch of like hearts and meanie faces and stuff like that. I don't think they liked your comment about the belt.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Nobody liked the winged belt? I love that belt. I know it's like smaller when you really look at guys like Hogan and other people who were carrying it, but man, that title is just insane. And I know people love the Smoke and Skull belt that Austin had, but I really think that when they started doing custom belts for the wrestler who had it, it kind of it took a lot of it away from me. But yeah, I love that winged belt. I mean, granted, my favorite one is going to be the WCW, the big gold belt, the OG, because that thing was just, it was massive. And I love the stories of wrestlers telling the new guy who gets the belt, you know, you got to take the belt with you. You got to wear it. You got to wear it through the airport and everything, you know? So that's always good stuff.
All right, so we're going to start the review part of the show. If you didn't notice, or if you did notice, hopefully you did, I did put a couple of different episodes on YouTube this morning, today, this afternoon, and I will have more. You can see that we're better centered this week than we were last week.
Yeah, apparently we were way off.
Keep talking. Looked like we were in each other's lap at one point. So we're going to kick off the show with the first review. We're going to talk about AEW. AEW wasn't a horrible show this week. It was not an amazing show, but it was not a horrible show. So let's get right into it.
I'll make the horrible joke. They didn't have somebody on the roster die that everyone loved.
Oh.
I know. You know, John, I love you, man.
So the first thing that we started off, we were allowed to watch the Young Bucks and SCU fight the Acclaim, which is the tag team I was trying to remember last week. They're the idiots that rap. They think they're cool, and they are really not.
Is their logo the same as the video game company Acclaim back in the day?
No.
I feel that's a missed opportunity on their part.
And TH2, which is kind of like... which is Jack and Havlicko. They're using the whole THC, TH2 type of jingle jangle.
Oh, yes, I have seen this, and I remember Chronic from WCW, guys.
And, well, for those that were following Impact, they had a group called the Rascals, and two of the members of the Rascals are currently in the Performance Center class for showing up sometime this year.
I saw an awful thing that Rascal Flatts was celebrating 20 years together and released a greatest hits CD.
That's like country music, right?
Yeah, well,
okay. It's
like pop country, yes. I'm saying that is the relevance of who you're talking about to me.
All right.
I have no clue who these
guys
are.
The Acclaim has a horrible rap gimmick. They name-dropped John Cena 3 times in their rap.
But he's on the other show.
Right, well, he's an actor.
Oh, that's right. He's actually not an eligible draft.
I didn't care enough to really listen to anything they said. I didn't try to understand it.
No question, though. Was the rap awful because it was awful rap, or are they just awful rappers? Or you're just not a fan of rap?
No, I enjoy rap music.
Okay.
I don't love rap. I mean, I enjoy rap music. I don't enjoy, like, Drake.
I don't consider Drake rap music, okay? You did not start from the bottom, homie. You were at the top. I saw you under grass and get shot.
I love how I do this on camera. It looks like I'm like pouring myself a
Pouring
40.
So, I mean, if you had to compare them to somebody, even if you got to go new school like MGK, Eminem, Kid Cudi, you know, what would you compare them to? Or are they just awful, bad rappers just doing a rap gimmick?
I'm going to make sure I play audio for them next week.
Okay, so we will have audio for what these lads sound like next week, and
I could put it on the page but I want you to hear it live.
maybe we'll review it and see what's going on. By the way, John Cena's rap album was good. I don't care what anybody says.
So was Vanilla Ice's.
Vanilla Ice's was amazing.
Their teamwork was good. There was a lot of tip work. Believe it or not, there wasn't as much flippy as there usually is. I think that's because you had Christopher Daniels and Kazarian.
Oh, Kaz and them were there? Okay,
so they were kind of grounding them.
Slow it down, guys. We've been here.
They teased the Meltzer driver, which we know is their... Mm-hmm. And then Matt lost his footing and fell to the floor, which was great, because anytime Matt Hardy...
You noticed that... Matt Buck.
Matt
Hardy,
Buck.
Right? Okay. You noticed that no one took the Young Cucks off the table?
So
there's a reason why no one drafted them.
So what happened was... So Matt Jackson was going to jump up on the middle rope and then do the Meltzer driver, but he missed. So he's like, all right, screw it. I'll just do a backflip out into the audience. And he flipped onto the floor. So then Christopher Daniel covered up and did the flip part of it for the Meltzer driver and helped them win.
Okay, guys, this is something that I'm having trouble with, especially when it comes to things like this. And WWE is kind of proving that it's doable, okay? I know you have people in the audience, but you're not necessarily needing to be live.
Right.
If you fuck up, and now that our elder statesmen are gone, I can swear a little bit more. Reshoot it. I think Sting has the funniest story I've ever heard about him going to the ring, coming down the ramp in Crockett, and he trips on a bar that was out there that he didn't see. And he goes out there, and he's embarrassed, but he has a really good match with the guy who's working back, right? He goes in the back, and Ole comes up to him and says, "Hey, good match, kid." And there's a live crowd, too.
Right.
Go shoot your entrance again. And he's just like, what? It's like, go shoot it again. You fell on your ass. So you can reshoot some of this stuff. You don't have to make these guys look like fools. Continue.
Yeah. So then Christopher Daniels and Frank Kazarian mentioned that they love being SCU. They love being together. However,
they're going to break apart.
If they lose any match this year, a regular tag team match where they are both participants, they will break up the tag team forever.
So they have stipulated their own breakup by foreshadowing their own breakup.
Right. And guess who was on commentary?
Was it Y2Ye?
Y2Ye. Chris Jericho on commentary mentions it's a new year. The rankings have reset. And for the first time ever, Excalibur, we have the same record. 0-0.
Is Jericho in a feud with Excalibur? Did Jericho hurt himself opening one of his canned hams and can't wrestle right now? Is that what's happened?
Jericho and because this is gonna be hard to say.
Okay.
Excalibur's a better announcer than Jericho. It keeps correcting him.
Because Jericho's already got that check in the bank. Excalibur's probably waiting on his to clear.
All right. So then Moxley comes into the ring from the audience because one of the funniest things I did really enjoy back when I listened to Cornette and Brian Glass, they'd always like, and where did he come from next? I can't wait for him to come out of a trash can.
Again, that's another thing that they kept from who they were for, but Moxley's like the brawler, like Roddy Piper kind of style. Yep. You're not Piper good, man, and you want to be, but I don't hate John as much as Cornette does. I like Mox to a point. Right. I think it was stupid for him for creative reasons to leave a multi-million-dollar contract with a wife and now a kid on the way to go to AEW to get his face busted open with barbed wire and shit because that's art for him. But I do enjoy Mox and think that he is better than what some of the other people who host podcasts say about him.
Gotcha. So, Moxley comes out to the ring. He tells Kenny, don't worry, I will get my revenge. I'll be lurking in the shadows. You're never going to see it coming. I got my ass beat. I'm a man enough to take it. You didn't want to do it honorably. Whatever. So, a promo.
Okay, I mean, that's...
And then speaking of people
that's
who...
fair.
So then Trent, he comes out. And he's going to be out 4 to 5 months because of a torn pec.
Ooh, ouch, buddy.
So the best friends are without a best friend.
And I'm guessing you and Bobby Fish are going to be hanging out at the surgical clinic in Tampa Bay together.
So Chucky T is like, my best friend's gone, but don't worry. And then speaking of, creative differences, here comes Miro. I'll be your best friend.
You notice Miro was left on the draft board tonight as well. I wonder why.
You can be my young boy.
Is this a sex thing?
No. So obviously you're not a smart. Young boys are what they... And then Trent says, look, I spent time in Japan. I know what a young boy is. I don't need a young boy. I'm not going to be your slave. I'm not going to be the guy who carries your bags. I'm not going to be the guy who...
I know the terminology, but just... It's a little...
So...
maybe you should have picked something else.
So next week, there's a match between Miro and Chucky T.
Oh, I was waiting for you to tell me it's going to be between Moxley and Miro or something.
So if Chucky T loses the match,
he has to become his friend.
He gets to become he has to become the young boy until the wedding. Because remember, everything's about the wedding. Next, we have the match we've been waiting for, and you should go back and watch this: Wardlow versus Hager.
I would like to see this. Yes.
It starts with a lot of ham bone throws. They were just throwing fists.
Those are big dudes, and
they started.
I'll admit it. I slept on Wardlow. I
kept looking at him. I kept looking at him. I didn't. Wardlow kept. They would do the shoulder. No one was going to give an inch. Wardlow throws the shoulder. Hager whiffs it off. Hager throws the shoulder. Wardlow throws it off.
Okay.
Wardlow takes his hair out of the ponytail, bucks back, throws the lariat.
Okay.
Hager takes it, and it just goes back and forth. Then they started doing the up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just went to the flying clothesline into each other.
Okay.
Both out. I think they were out. I think they might have been outside the ring when they did that, but it just another great graphic.
Okay.
So I look. It's about this time. I look over at Dad and I go, I think Wardlow's gonna win, and I think MJF's gonna help him because there's no way in hell that Wardlow is gonna throw Hager up for an F. Oh my God! He just threw an F10 on him. Wardlow F10'd Hager and did the spin. Hager up in the air. 1, 2, 3, clean.
Good for Hager for taking that, because I'm always interested in what cross-brand things people can do. Like I don't know if they've said anything or put anything out, or maybe anybody knows. Obviously, when you had King Mo in TNA, there was just stuff you couldn't do with him because he was going to fight in Bellator,
Right.
And there's been other guys that are doing cross stuff. So having Jake, who is on Bellator, who is trying to come up, who probably makes more money each time he fights in Bellator than he does wrestle in AEW at this point. But to take that's a heck of a spot to see.
And then, so of course the match is over. Now they need to bro it up. You've got it out. Now we're a team again.
I saw this on Monday night.
So then we go to Private Party. Private Party is Crime Time, which became the Street Profits. So okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's Snoop's back there because
I forgot Snoop was
So this was the weirdest part. This just threw me.
And to answer your question, it was 1 week before they took down the graphic for Sasha Banks as famous rap cousin.
Yeah. So Hardy shows up with contracts. And he said he's enjoyed, mentoring them and getting them ready because it's been a big story that Hardy's been helping Private Party.
Yeah.
So now we're going to make it legitimate. and he's only asking for 30% of it for management fees of their take.
Is Hardy a heel now?
I don't know.
When you got knocked off the thing and got your skull cracked open?
So he's going to be their heel. He's going to be their manager, asking for a 30% management fee. He tells them, "Don't worry, you can keep your third party platforms like Twitch. I'm not a monster."
You know what? That's funny because yes,
but
fuck WWE for doing that to people.
But,
and then having them shoot angles on third-party platforms, it's amazing.
But so Hardy's maybe picking Hardy was a bad pick for somebody.
Looks like Hardy's probably not going to be. Well, I imagine he'll be involved in some point.
Yeah.
You know, and Matt's like getting to the point of the guy who just needs to quit and can't quit because he can't do anything else.
We'll talk about that on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Or no, Raw.
Was Jeff on Raw?
Yeah.
We'll
talk about it.
Cut. Yeah.
Oh. Interesting. So out comes Team Taz. They're going to do the weigh-ins for their match. Why we have to do a weigh-in between...
They literally announce their weight when they come to the ring.
Between Brian Cage and Darby Allin. Why do we need to have a weigh-in for this?
Because I'll tell you why.
Because
Darby is going to win. Because they're building Darby up to show the weight difference between Cage and Darby, because Darby's a skinny fuck.
So Taz comes out, Cage weighs in at 272, wearing just basically boxers.
I'm sure Darby weighed in at a stiff 140.
Darby weighs 170 with all of his street clothes on, and I wrote, with his clothes on. Oh, Taz is pointing out he has all of his clothes on as I type this.
Did they gimmick the weight machine? That would be awesome if
no,
they did.
You couldn't see what it said.
Oh, okay. So they just told a story. They didn't even show the thing. Mm-hmm. I would have at least shown the thing and maybe gimmicked it. So then Taz goes, "Look, we all know how this is going to end. Let's get to the fun." Lights out. Starts snowing. Team Taz leaves the ring for some reason. They had 30 good seconds to beat up Darby. Lights come on. There's Sting, of course. I might not regret that last round pick. Taz says next week Cage will take the belt. I'm very excited to see the non-wrestling program between Taz and Sting. I was out of space. I needed someone. You can probably go back on this and watch. I'm literally pointing between Rey Fenix, Eddie Edwards, Penta, and Eddie Kingston as my choices, and and EC3, and I randomly looked down and wrote Sting. I wrote Sting in there. I should probably take Sting, I guess. Yes. Unfortunately, I thought about Hangman Page as well, but I can't do that now. All right, so I didn't realize what happened till the brilliance of it. AEW has some great writing right now. I'm going to foreshadow what's going to happen, and it's amazing. So we didn't talk about this on the show because it happened while we were on Christmas break, but what's his name? Did I write it down? I think I wrote it down. It's so amazing we don't know his name. All right, so Ortiz. Ortiz wasn't on the show. Okay. He was off the show for a couple weeks because his mom died of cancer. Yes, I do remember them saying that he was leaving for official reasons, and then they never said anything why. So 2 weeks ago, the week before we did the show, he comes in. MJF comes in. Hey! Look! I know we got our differences. But I just want. And he's like, let me back up to 30 seconds. He has a cameraman with him. He goes like, hey, stay in the doorway, stay out of the way, but you need to see what I'm about to do. You need to catch this on camera. Okay. He comes in, he's like, hey, whoa. I know we don't get along yet. I know it's still fresh. But man, Ortiz, I just want to let you know that I lost my mom to cancer also. And I feel for you. And, if you just need to talk, and if you need anything, just let me know. I'm there for you. Okay. And I was like, well, that was weird. Okay. So then this week, Jericho's on commentary. Hager just lost. Hager is in the locker room kicking the shit out of lockers and throwing stuff. And MJF comes and goes, hey. And he's like, what do you want? And he's like, hey, dude, I get it. I've lost matches too. And Wardlow would whoop my ass. I don't know, Jericho. You fucked up Goldberg.
No. MJF.
Oh, MJF. Okay.
Is talking. He goes, there's a reason I picked this guy as my number one, man.
Okay, it's MJF, you probably would get taken. Yeah.
He's like, but, all we can do now is move forward and be stronger. So, if you want to talk, if you need anything, just let me know. I'm there for you. And he goes like, thanks, man. Thank you. So, MJF is taking the inner circle from Jericho.
Which is what we called was going to be...
But they're doing it smart. Yeah. They're like showing... Like this, whoever's writing this, amazing.
I don't like the touch on the real world unless, of course, obviously the gentleman allowed it.
You have to believe it they did.
I believe that they did, and they... it probably could have been his idea because in the end of the day, nothing is sacred in wrestling.
We learned that a couple years ago.
We're going to use whatever we can, whenever we can, essentially, right? I don't mind it. We called it, like we said, there was two outcomes. This was all a big circle fuck on MJF, and they were just going to beat him up at the pay-per-view and just leave him laying. Or he was going to come in and just slowly, not necessarily even slowly, but he was just going to take over the inner circle and kick Jericho out.
Right, and that's what... And Jericho couldn't check on Hager because he's on commentary.
So this is actually not bad. And it sows seeds very well, and it shows MJF being heelish, but at the same time, he can easily come back and say, Jericho, why are you thinking that I'm doing this? Here I am checking on the boys, I'm checking on the team, and you're busy getting in an ego stroke with Excalibur, Where were you when Ortiz's mom died and I comforted him? Where were you when Hager lost? And, it's like... No, this is good. This is good.
They're building a story.
Which is why MJF was my third-round draft pick, you jerk.
All right, so then we get highlights of -1 punking out Marco, which was good.
Like I said, I wanted them to do something with the kid. I didn't want them to do something in the ring with the kid. And I especially didn't want them to do something in the ring with a kid with someone who looks like a kid who's a grown-ass man. Who I have seen wrestle who legitimately looks like a 12-year-old boy. I've seen Marco stunt live.
Oh, you're going to love this then. So, Marco says, enough, I don't want to talk about that. I want to focus on the Jurassic Express getting the belts back. FTR walks up and goes, whoa, which I'm surprised nobody picked anybody from FTR.
Well, that's because they're buried on this show somewhere. They're the greatest tag team in every company they work for that nobody cares about.
He goes, so you just need to shut up. You do nothing for the team. You're their mascot.
Which is true.
And then Marco says he's tired of this. He's tired of the disrespect. He's going to take Luchasaurus' place in their match next week. So it's going to be Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy versus FTR.
All right, yeah. This is going to make it on TV, right?
Yes, and somehow Marco Stunt will end up winning this match.
I'm calling
it now.
The clip on AEW After Dark or whatever it's called, Cinemax, whatever it is, with -1 and Cody laughing, it would be very easy to just hate on so much of that, and that's the same stupid stuff that Omega was doing in Japan and stuff, but it was filmed for a birthday party. It wasn't supposed to be in the main thing. But you know what? It was a feel-good moment for everybody.
Yeah.
It probably made that kid feel like $1 million, and everybody had a good jovial laugh with it, and it showed something that they kind of want to do something to foster this kid. And like I said, not sounding like the greedy billionaire businessman Tony Khan, you have one of the rarest opportunities to foster a talent from adolescence to your roster potentially. And as long as this kid keeps the interest, wants to do it, can physically be involved in wanting to do it, and puts the work in, you legit have your next Randy Orton, you have your next Rock, you have your next whatever, if your company stays in business and all of those variables fall in place. So why not capitalize on that opportunity and say, let's run with this, And like I said, let this kid maybe come out and cut a promo, the work of the father falls to the son. I'm in charge of the Dark Order now. You might not see me on camera as much. I might have, this guy or this guy speaking for me or something, But I want all of you to be on watch that -1 is the one behind the Dark Order.
Right, and he's mean with a kendo stick.
Yeah, just don't put the kid back in the mask, okay? Because the mask was falling down and he couldn't see.
That was a little.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of second generation wrestlers, Cody versus Matt Sydal.
Oh,
Evan Bourne.
this could be a good match.
Snoop comes out as the Arn Anderson of the match, so Snoop is going to be his manager. Snoop almost gets taken out once or twice because he's in the way. He doesn't know where to stand.
Because he has no... And Snoop is probably high as hell.
So Sir Pentico, who is with Luther, there's kind of like... They're like the misfits of AEW or WWE back in the day, like the Luna Vachon's
The
team.
oddities.
The oddities, yeah.
Okay.
So Cody accidentally hits him on the outside while he's aiming for Matt Sydal.
This sounds like a schmoz fest.
Right. Well, the match was really good. It was a 3.5-star match. It was...
Okay.
You can't go wrong with Cody, and you can't go wrong with Matt Sydal.
There's very little... Well, you can go very wrong with Matt Sydal, as we saw. But with Cody, like I said, if there's anybody on the roster who can have a match with Sting and not hurt him, it's probably Cody.
So Cody gets 2 crossroads. As soon as the third count, as soon as the referee's hand hits 3, Serpentico goes in the ring, jumps him. So then Serpentico and Luther jump Cody and Sydal.
Okay.
And then Snoop comes off the top rope for a splash.
Surprisingly, though Snoop looks like a string bean, he is actually quite athletic.
Snoop does the worst top rope move I've ever seen.
I take it all back.
He hits his feet, drops to his knees, and then covers for a splash.
Remember when I said you could reshoot it? You should have reshot. You should have shot that before the show and just cut splice for the live audience. It's right
that
there.
bad. All right. And
he plays football. How can you? You know what? I don't know if they had him run through it or not, but I can tell you, and I don't know if you ever did. You ever come off the top rope?
No.
Okay, so I've come off the top rope. It is really weird because you are aware of the height that you have and you want to go, but when you do, it's like if you're not used to bouncing like trampoline stuff, you don't know where your rotation and body is at. And when you look out, especially with lights coming in, it literally looks like a sea of just whatever color the mat is. So sometimes when you go up and out, you just get lost in the sea and you don't know where you're at. So maybe that's what happened is he came up and was just like, I don't see him.
So Jericho is screaming on commentary about how much he hates Snoop Dogg. I hate that guy. And then Snoop Dogg walks up to him and gives him a hug, and Jericho's like, gives him a hug back, like, I don't know what to do.
Okay, that's heel Jericho that I like.
And then as soon as he's out of range, I still hate that guy.
That is heel Jericho that I like. That's funny.
I wrote Abaddon versus Kushida. It's actually Shida, not Kushida.
That's fair. I made the same mistake the first time. I was like, Kushida's not on the show.
Abaddon drags Shida under the ring.
So we have our female Kane?
Yes, but remember, she drips the blood.
I know, that's what I was going to say. Female Gangrel? Female
Shida actually won the match. This wasn't much of a match. Abaddon did a lot of nothing, is what I wrote.
I think she can't do anything other than drip blood and look weird.
All right, so then we have the main event. Phoenix versus Omega.
I knew I should have taken Phoenix. I knew I should have picked him.
It was a pretty amazing match, truth to be told. It went well.
Okay.
Phoenix looked like, they booked it like Phoenix was going to win a couple times.
That's good. Keep him strong. He's a young buck. You might as well make him look good, especially.
But we all knew that.
I don't hate Omega.
Right.
I hate what Omega does sometimes, but unlike Cornette and some of the other people, I like to watch an Omega match. I do think AEW has exposed him to the national American audience to a certain level that maybe makes him not as good as what he presented himself as on the bill, because we had the, as I believe we talked about on one of our other shows, we only got to see Omega like 6 times a year.
Right.
Now we're seeing him 1-2 times every single week, so it's kind of like...
I'm going to make you take it all back.
What do you do?
So...
You're going to take it all back, okay.
So we knew Kenny Omega wasn't going to win because he's got this pay-per-view coming up on, which we did not review because we don't review Impact. But Saturday night,
he did. He
showed
is defending there. Yes.
He wasn't defending his belt because it was a triple tag match.
Yes.
So Moxley comes out of the back and attacks Omega.
Okay.
Because
he did say he was going to do it. That's your bad for not paying attention.
So now it's it's Kenny Omega versus Moxley, and then here comes Anderson and Gallows.
Question before we go anywhere, because I want to see if I have this right. Omega, the heel, because we did say he is a heel now, right?
Most definitely.
Is fighting Phoenix, who is also
a heel.
Right. And then the babyface jumps the heel.
Right. And the other heel doesn't help.
And the other heel doesn't help.
Because Kingston...
Yeah.
The Kingston's crew has issues with
the other... Yeah, okay.
With Moxley.
Which, yes. All right, continue. So, other people come out who are also...
From Impact.
Heels. Who are heels on the other show, okay. And please tell me they all just stop and just wreck Moxley.
For a while.
Okay.
Everybody finally... So Anderson Gallows attack Moxley. They beat the crap out of him for a while. And finally, every nobody tries to interfere. I wrote every nobody because people that were watching the show start jumping the fence to help. Okay. Not a single wrestler you really knew by name. I'm sorry, Billy Gunn and his son. We know their names.
What about Rich Swann? Or...
You would think there'd been some good guys from Impact help. No, it was just the AEW guys.
Also, who let those guys in?
Well, Don Callis, of course. He was there.
But
yes, so then you have Jericho screaming, "They don't even work here!"
Guys,
so finally the Bucks come out.
On.
So now the Bucks come out.
Okay.
And they kind of get everything pulled apart.
The Young Bucks break it up.
The Young Bucks helped smooth it all.
Not Moose or Wardlow or anybody who's 6'6" and 245 pounds. The Young Cucks break it up.
So now you have Jon Moxley. Now you have Kenny Omega, Anderson Gallows, and the Young Bucks all standing in the ring together.
So you have
no.
Oh, okay.
They do this.
Oh, all right.
And then the Bucks are like, and then they do it too.
Okay.
So now the Bullet Club, Bucks, Elite, the young Elite Buck. Yeah. Okay. So the Bullet Club is back together.
So the question is I assume they can't call themselves the Bullet Club.
Right.
So they're going to be something else. But
the
everybody,
Elite Club?
They literally booked a show for internet fans, right?
Right.
On a major network.
Well, that's
because the only people
they're trying to sell the Impact pay-per-view.
So
for $50.
They can't. It's like the freaking EV 2.0 thing. You're booking a stable of a reunion for people who only know that they were in a stable 5 years ago. None of those guys work there anymore. And then on top of that, it's like, okay, so let me ask you a question. Who flips? Is it the young? Is the Young Bucks? Are they the ones who are like, no, AEW for life?
Well, they're vice presidents, of course they do.
So is it going to be the Young Bucks who flip?
Oh wait, but Kenny Omega's the president too.
Yeah, Kenny Omega. Yeah, okay, yeah, all right. So,
so we had a good match with Hager and Wardlow.
Yes,
we had a good match with Sydal and Cody, and we had a good match with Phoenix. And overall, it was about a 2.5, 3-star show. Now let's talk about a good show. Let's talk about a great show.